The CMMCS TinTops were back in actions for their annual 30-minute endurance race at Brands Hatch. It was a decent grid, all things considered. The week prior we had the Grand Prix Circuit event, so having 16 starters was great to see for the 30-minute endurance race here at Brands Hatch. Qualifying would see Chris Bassett, partnered by Tom Burgess, securing pole position in their T2 Peugeot. Next up was another T2 car, the Honda Civic of Matt Rowling, coming at 54.628. Third place would be the Invitational class Jeremy Evans in his Honda Civic, followed by Dave Charlton, Adrian Matthews and Ken Angell and Rob Birley in their BMW E36 Coupe. Next up in 7th place would be Graham Richardson. In 8th place would be Dominic Ryan leading class T3. Next would follow Callum Perfect leading class TH and Justin Ross in the top 10 TP pole position in the Renault Clio 182. Next up would be Angelo Massinetto, followed by Nick Lunn. Then in 13th place would be myself and Rick Skelsey. 14th would be Ian and James Seal, followed by John Wilde, and 16th position for Samuel Hayward. Unfortunately, there were a few withdrawals for the race. Unfortunately for myself and Rick Skelsey, we wouldn't make it out for the race. We only did a couple of laps in qualifying, and we were quite competitive, but unfortunately for us, we didn't get out for the race because of an issue with the car, power steering related, meaning we did not get out for the race, which was a big shame, as both of us were coming off the back of a tough weekend on the Grand Prix circuit. Then for the rolling start for this 30-minute endurance race at Brands Hatch, Chris Bassett would soon stamp his authority and open up a reasonable lead early on. Matt Rowling was keeping him honest in second place in a fairly comfortable second position, with Jeremy Evans slotting into third place. Dave Charlton had Adrian Matthews right behind him for fourth position, whilst Angell and Richardson were in close company early on within T1. Dominic Ryan was doing well in his Class T3 Fiesta in 8th position. He was pulling away from Perfect, who was soon joined by Massinetto, who had moved up to 9th place on lap number 3. Richardson managed to squeeze past Angell on lap number 6, whilst Charlton was still holding off Matthews in their close battle for 4th. After 10 minutes the pit window would open and it was compulsory for all drivers to complete a pit stop. 60 seconds stopped was the main thing. And just as the pit window had opened, the race leader unfortunately pulled off. A big shame for Chris Bassett, who was doing a great job out front, leading the field by a good 4 or 5 seconds, but he would come to a halt on the main straight. Thankfully no safety car intervention was needed for that. Quick work from himself and the marshals allowed this to be avoided. Possibly thinking there would be a safety car, Charlton, Matthews and Angell alongside Massinetto all pitted at this point. Matthews had got the jump on Charlton in the pits, whilst Birley had emerged closer to the white Seat. Most drivers had come in on lap number 16, which was half race distance for the majority of the field. And at that point we all thought things had settled down. Rowling had a 7-second lead over Evans. Matthews was now in third. Birley tried to catch up to him, but there was a significant gap between the two. Birley had got past Charlton going to Graham Hill on lap number 19, allowing him to be fourth just behind Matthews, who was now in third. Dominic Ryan was now in 6th position as Richardson had had a rather lengthy pit stop, seeing him fall back all the way down to 8th position. The action of the race wasn't over though. On lap number 24, Callum Perfect had a spin into the gravel trap at Paddock Hill Bend. He did a good job to stay out of the barriers, and unfortunately for him, he was stuck in the gravel. This time a safety car would appear. Whilst the safety team did a great job to get the BMW extracted from the gravel trap, 4 cars were now on the lead lap, and this did spice up some things going into the last few laps. This meant that Rod Birley, who was just ahead of the leader at the time of the incident, caught up essentially a lap to be right behind third placed Adrian Matthews, and as the safety car would come in, the green flag would drop, and 2 minutes of racing left would see Rowling ahead of a lapped Charlton with Evans in second position. But possibly more importantly for the overall podium, it would be Birley versus Matthews. Birley putting in an attack early on Matthews after the green flag had dropped as they squeezed past Angelo Massinetto, Ryan and Hayward. Birley would get through into third place, allowing him to get the Driver of the Race award as well as T1 honours. It was Rowling taking the overall win by 1.3 seconds over Evans, and Birley taking the third place on the podium just ahead of Matthews. A great drive from Matthews, first time for him getting into the top 4 with the TinTops, so great to see from him. Dave Charlton would be a lap down in 5th position, and then would follow Ryan, winning Class T3 class ahead of Richardson, Lunn, then ahead of the 2 Seals, winning Class TP after the late retirement of Justin Ross, who'd done a great job in this race, it must be said. He was leading Class TP the whole way. He even briefly led the race outright through the pit stops, but unfortunately his Renault Clio would come to a halt just before Druid's hairpin, seeing him retire from the race. We also had Wild, Massinetto and Hayward completing the finishes, and a great job to see Samuel Hayward winning Class TH at the great delight of car owner Will Arif. So let's go down the results then of this 30-minute endurance race at Brands Hatch. We just sneaked in one final lap, the final race nearly going to 31 minutes. So Matt Rowling winning the race, winning Class T2 as well. Jeremy Evans in the Invitational class would win his class, of course, the only entrant in P2, 1.7 seconds behind Matt Rowling. Ken Angell and Birley would finish third place overall in the BMW 36. They were just ahead of Adrian Matthews, 0.6 of a second between the two of them. Adrian Matthews finishing 4th position, second within Class T2. Dave Charlton will be second within Class T1 in his Seat Leon, 5th place overall. And Dominic Ryan finishing in 6th place overall, winning Class T3 in a dominant drive for him. His best lap, 58.613, very impressive within the Class T3 class. 7th place would be Graham Richardson in his Honda Civic EP3, followed by Nick Lunn in his T2 Honda Integra DC2. Ian and James Seal would win the Class TP in 9th place overall. John Wild would finish 2nd place within T3 and 10th place overall, just ahead of Angelo Massinetto, 4.3 seconds behind John. And in 12th position it'd be Sam Hayward, putting in some impressive lap times, getting into the 102s, also winning Class TH after the retirement of Callum Perfect. So the retirements, 3 of them within this race, would be Callum Perfect in TH, Justin Ross in TP. Both of those were leading their class when they retired, and also the other retirement was leading their class and the overall race when they retired. Bassett and Burgess, a disappointing finish to their day. Of course, we didn't start the race, myself and Rick Scalzi, which was a big shame. We're looking to have a good battle with Ian and James Seal. I don't think we would have had the pace to catch up to Justin Ross within our class, but I think we possibly could have had a good battle with Ian and James. But regardless, massive congratulations to all of the winners out there today. Some really great drives from all.
First half of the race, pretty calm actually. I'm sort of just trying to hang on to everybody else a little bit. And then after the safety car, I was left in mid-pack for the restart, so it all got a bit hectic going up into Druids. We ended up, I think, 4 wide at one point because we had the Volvo and Rod Birley and the BMW decided to go either side of me. So it got a bit busy up there, but we made it through in one piece to hang on really, to come through to the win. So first result.
Yeah, it was a close race for me actually. I had a battle with Angelo, Callum, and I had John Wild behind me. Sometimes actually touching me, but no, it was a very tight battle out there, and I was glad to hand over to James actually, a bit of clean air. How did you find it?
Well, after stalling coming out the pits during quali, the key thing was to get out in time and hopefully not get out in traffic, which was good. And obviously you have no idea where you are on track, who you're competing with, or what have you. So it was just finding my feet, and then I entered into a couple of battles. But before I also knew it, the safety car came out, and that was my first ever safety car, and it was possibly a 1-2 lap sprint at the end, which was nice to see the checkered flag whilst we were under green flag conditions.
Perfect. Yeah, you were chasing Nick down, weren't you, towards the end? You were getting quite close to Nick Ryan, I think.
Yeah, so Nick was Nick, after the restart I was trying to gap John to make sure that he didn't dive bomb me down into paddock, so I was managing that gap and then had 2 laps to chase after Nick.
And we'll see you back with the TinTops at Snetterton on the 16th of October. So thank you all for watching the video, for tuning in, and also for entering and taking part in the event. It's massively appreciated. We'll see you around soon, and goodbye.